here with Mr. Eddie Hearn, of course. Eddie, I haven't seen you for a couple of months. I'm very well.
I missed your call in America as well. I apologise for that.
No problem. Not knowing how busy you are. And I was in America at the time as well. That's all I was. I think it was about. If you've been in the UK, it would have been about 3 in the morning. So I knew you were in Miami. But a lot of things swirling around at the moment. There's so much news on social media, but there isn't really a lot happening at the moment. There's a lot to announce coming up. Can I just go through a couple of things, Julie? Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith, Canelo axis. Where are you with that?
So both in the hat. No major discussions. A few little rumblings. Both guys ready to accept the challenge of Canelo on Cinco de Mayo in the UK or in Vegas. Most likely in Vegas, of course.
2nd of May,
yes,
isn't it? Yeah.
And that's it. Both guys ready. You know, we've seen the reports of Murata falling through, which makes me feel like it's one of those two. And you know, like I said, some early discussions, nothing major. Both guys ready to accept that fight if it comes forward and the right offer presents itself.
Is it about the offers at the moment?
I mean, it's not. At the end of the day, they want that opportunity to fight Canelo. But of course, you know, it's the biggest fight for them in their career. It's probably the most risky fight in the division. It's the fight where they're putting their world titles on the line in Las Vegas, which is the stomping ground of Canelo, which we've seen in the past has been hard to get the rubber to green over there. So of course, you know, they want to make sure that the offer is right. But you know, it's not one that you take solely for the money. You take it for the legacy. They both feel as though they can beat Canelo Alvarez, and if they were to beat him, then you know, that's going to go down in the history of the sport. So that plays a big part in it.
Can you sit down, or do you need to stand here? We can sit down on the edge of the stage.
Or we can go over there.
Yeah, let's go over there. Let's walk over
there.
Let's sit here, That's a bit better. I can actually do this thing. You know, it's new to me. Well, it's not new to me, but is the how close are you to announcing Anthony Joshua against Brit? And what are the locations? What location do you genuinely think it's going to be?
So I had strict instructions from Anthony Joshua to do this fight in the UK. I was with him last night. We've had offers from the Middle East, we've had offers from Africa, we've had offers from America, obviously the UK as well. We've had some interest from Turkey as well. And AJ just said to me that all these things are great. You know, Madison Square Garden, amazing experience. Saudi, amazing experience. I want to fight in the UK.
It's right as well, though.
It is right.
It's time to be back.
It is time. And I know that, you know, sometimes there's all the conversations about Saudi. And you know what, Gareth? I'm probably a little bit too honest sometimes. You know, where I say to people that when there's a massive fight and two parties are involved and you negotiate them, you know, it's very difficult to not look at the money in the pot, because that's what everybody wants to know. But ultimately, if you said to Anthony Joshua, where would you most like to fight? London. That's it. And now he has an opportunity to defend his world titles that he's just regained. You know, in a moment that looked like his world championship dreams might be over. And he wants to come back to his home.
You've got to feed your audience, haven't you?
You do. And it means, and I know people get bored of me talking about money, it means him taking a huge pay cut to do it. But he wants to do it. And it's not even, you know, it's like, look, we must do this. And Tottenham Hotspur is probably the front runner right now. The fight will take place in June.
Beautiful stadium to do that.
Amazing. Yeah. And we're tying up negotiations with Bob Arum.
Not May the 30th, then that's out now.
That's not happening. No. May 30th wasn't an option at Spurs. So June. And when will we get an announcement? Next 2 weeks. But you know,
as soon as that
we've agreed terms, but we've pretty much agreed terms now.
He's got to do a number on Pulev as well, hasn't he? He's got to look impressive.
Yeah, he has. And I think you see the different styles of Anthony Joshua, don't you? You see him fight Andy Ruiz in a fight where he couldn't afford to make one single mistake in that fight. But you know what? He didn't make one single mistake in that fight. It was an absolute clinic. But you either get the casual fans that will say, right, come on then, let's see you take someone's head off. And that's what he'll be trying to do against Kubrat Pulev, because the styles match up that way.
I couldn't travel that night, and I was sitting with Frank Bruno on one side of me and Cannon Briggs on the other.
Wow.
Shannon and Cannon Briggs on the other. We were doing a Willie Mill live feed on it. Couldn't travel for health reasons. I want to I want to emphasise, I wasn't there. I wasn't protesting Saudi Arabia or anything like that. But the point being, they were both urging him by rounds 8 or 9. You know what they were saying? They were going, this is brilliant. This is what he needs to do. They were literally both out of their seats saying, don't change anything. Don't risk anything.
I was doing the same, Gareth.
You're winning round by round.
Anthony Joshua likes knocking people out. He's probably the most exciting fighter on the planet. And it was hurting him every time he I mean, you see the first round, he hit him with a crisp right hand, split his eye open, and Marie's wobbled, and he's like, no, just
likes to fight.
So it actually was very difficult for him to keep that discipline. But he had to do it because it was so important. He had to win those world championships back.
I've got about 7 questions. I'm going to race through these ones, okay? Are we on for Derek Chisora and Alexander Usyk late March? Are you nearly there with that?
We are pretty much done on that fight. There's a chance that fight might be pushed back a few weeks for many reasons.
Still O2 Arena, kind of.
Yeah, that's the plan. It'll be at the O2 Arena. Yeah. And it's an amazing fight. I mean, Usyk is one of the biggest stars in the sport. Of course, undisputed cruiserweight world champion, stepping up to heavyweight. He's the mandatory for Anthony Joshua's fight after Pulev. Still questions about him at heavyweight. Let's find out, because if you've got questions about Usyk at heavyweight, who's the best person to find out the truth? Derek Chisora.
Yeah,
and he will go into that O2 Arena and he will put his heart and soul into trying to cause one of the big heavyweight upsets and put himself in a position to challenge for the world title.
7 months ago, Gerald Miller was, or 8 months ago now, he was taken or removed from the fight with Anthony Joshua, which caused an incredible year for you in 2019 because of what happened with Andy Ruiz and the comeback fight for Anthony Joshua. What's your take on, I don't want to talk about moral bankruptcy in boxing, but there's a loophole there that was exploited by Gerald Miller being out for 7 months and being able to come back.
Well, he was never banned.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a loophole because he wasn't licensed at the time by the New York State Voting Commission.
It's a problem because he was never banned. This is a problem I have with him. And listen, I'm going to be more vocal about this because he tried to do this against my guy. And not just my client, but my friend as well. And I don't like the fact that he failed 3 drug tests for 3 different substances.
One of which you have to inject.
Yes, and was never banned. And it can walk into a multi-million-dollar contract like it was nothing. Like I'm not going to come out and say, I never contradict myself, etc. But in this instance, with a case like this, it wasn't like he went to a supplement store and took a banned substance over the counter. This is a guy that was sticking needles in himself to try and beat another man who, by the way, had already abused his family and his mother in the process of doing it. He couldn't bring himself to fight Anthony Joshua fair and square. And in a week, he came out on social media, he called me a fraud, he called me disrespectful. Okay, so what's taking drugs?
Well, he also called Anthony Joshua a drugs cheat.
Yeah, exactly. I know. So what is taking drugs to beat another man in a fight? If that's not a fraud and disrespectful, I don't know what is. I'm done talking about this guy now. Good luck in his career. He was desperate to sign with me, and I wouldn't do it. And for me to not sign him, Gareth, you got to know it's something serious.
Obviously you've got a big fight on Saturday night, but I'm going to let that go because this probably won't go out until just after. But it's fantastic to see Cal Brook back, by the way, and he gave me a wonderful interview the other day.
I saw that.
Yeah, there's a new honesty about him, and I mean this is going to go out after he's fought, but there's something special about him, and I love, because we're getting older, it's lovely when you see a young man go to the 3rd phase of his career, and there's a new maturity about him. Because the last thing he said to me was, I really want to make Eddie a fan of me again because he's lost interest in me.
Yeah, but he's been out.
He's one of your guys from the beginning.
He's been out for a year.
That Sean Porter night was massive.
Oh, it was unbelievable. But he didn't live the life. He cut corners.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I've heard him admit it. Yeah. And it's so important to admit it. Did you deny it? Yeah. Everyone, as a man, everyone at some point in their life grows up. You just hope it's not too late. And now this is a situation.
We'll happen for us one day.
But how we are now, Gareth, imagine how we were at 25. We're totally different people. You look at life from a total different perspective. He's doing that now, but he's from the fight game. The difference is has he still got it? If he has, he can win another world title. You can't just be a shot fighter and realise that you should have tried more and now you are, so you're going to go win the world title. If you're gone, you're gone. I don't believe he's gone. But that might sound silly by the time this plays out.
No, I think it'll be all right. Finally, there is another big fight coming up in Las Vegas in a couple of weeks' time. Yeah, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. What's your feeling about that fight? I mean, I've been around Fury already. I'm going to see Wilder in Alabama on Tuesday and Wednesday. Fury looks and feels very good to me. What's your take on the fight?
I like the setup with Sugar Hill and Andy Lee, and it's always risky to change trainers, but I think it's a good team, and I think Fury's going to do what Fury's going to do, which is dance around, avoid Wilder, try not to engage, and nick the fight on points. He's saying about he's going to come out firing and try and knock him out in 2 rounds. Rubbish. But he might be a little bit more aggressive.
They know too much about boxing
to
do
that.
Of course.
And Fury's got to play to his advantages, which is he's 6 foot nothing. He's horribly awkward and he's very difficult to hit. He's not a big puncher. He don't like to trade, and he's just very technically very good and awkward. Do that. Be awkward. He's not going to win the fight by coming out trying to be a brave guy. He's got a box on the back foot, frustrate him. He's got to put the kind of performance that he put in against Klitschko, and he can do it. But I think Wilder this time will be more reckless.
Can I ask you, I mean, it sounds a stupid question in a way, what's the bigger fight for you to promote? Is it Fury against AJ, or is it Wilder against AJ? They're both brilliant fights.
So from a global perspective, from people wanting that fight, it's Wilder against AJ.
Yeah.
From a British perspective and from my own personal perspective, I love AJ Fury because when are we going to get a chance to have the undisputed
You'll never do
world
championship? You know that. I don't
undisputed
think
world
ever
championship
do
between 2 British
Exactly,
heavyweights.
Exactly.
So part of me, or all of me, wants Fury to win because 1, he's a Brit, and 2, I like that fight. But there are, Wilder Joshua globally is huge.
Yes. Is there a danger? That? I mean, because I'm debating it without having spoken to you about it. I've debated it on radio, I've spoken it with interviews that I've done with people, I've even written bits about it. Is there a danger that fight is worth so much that it does go to the Middle East and we don't get it in Britain?
And I had this conversation with Anthony last night, it's almost like, I'm not looking to rub people's noses in it, I'm just telling you the truth. And when you've got a B side or another side, do you think Shelley Finkel and Al Heyman are going to want to take that fight in the UK for a quarter of the purse that they could make elsewhere? Yeah. We don't even really have a say.
Wilder and Joshua's got to be in America. That's the big money fight.
But Fury Joshua, yes, of course that fight makes sense in the UK. But again, the same story, Gareth. But if you said to Anthony Joshua, where do you want to fight Fury? He would say London. Has to be London. But then when you sit down with Fury, do you think Fury's going to take a quarter of what he could make elsewhere? Every time I say to AJ, where do you want to fight? He says London. London, London, London. And you know what? It was probably me saying to him, we should go to Madison Square Garden. He would have stayed in London his whole career. I just don't feel like, as a world heavyweight champion, that necessarily feels right. I think you've got to go and box around the world and spread the gospel of the sport.
You've got all kinds of shows that you're doing at the moment. You've got your own unscripted show going on. Now, look at you. You're looking very handsome. We haven't spoken since you did plant-based only.
Yes.
What's happened with that?
I'm off that.
But you look really well.
Yeah,
what did you lose? 20 pounds?
Like a yo-yo. A bit less, probably 16, 17 pounds.
Yeah.
But I'm up and down like a yo-yo. I mean, the travelling kills you because you're on the plane and you're eating.
So back on meat, yeah?
But it's made me look at meat in a different way.
You'll be living in California next.
I had a piece of chicken the other day. I picked it up and I put it in the mouth.
And it didn't taste right. I have that sometimes.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks very much. Cheers.
All right, mate.
Thank you very much.
Cheers,
Cheers.